The whole idea of this is that, if you remember sharing from when I was here Sunday, we're here to close the gap. The gap between what you're believing for, this 90-day goal and all the other things, and where you are today. Here you are here. Deal with it. You should be over there. Guys, remember the crossing the room exercise? You should be over here. Now, the critic just told you, well, you should have been there by now already. See, that's why you have to be here. If you were there, you wouldn't have to be here, right? Or, whatever may be going on in your brain. But you should be over here. Just like that bridge, there's pieces missing. And the last pieces are coming into play. And that's the Michelangelo, I think, hand of God touching the hand of Adam. And God is reaching out for you to close this gap. And the gap is, if you go to the next slide, is what we talked about last time. You, me, the devil, right? Who, me? There's three people involved. There's me. There's God. I love that. In me I trust, right? He's got the sign, in me I trust. Who else is he going to trust in, right? Not me. He's got grace on me, but he better not put too much, in my hands. I might drop the ball a little bit. But in he trusts. And then, of course, there's the little red guy, right? The devil. We talked about this Sunday. Is it God's fault that we're not over there? That the bridge is not completed? That we haven't crossed the expanse to our destiny? No. Is it the devil? Well, yeah, he is that tiger that Susan Boyle sang about. He is that roaring lion, but he only has one weapon. He got defanged before he ever hit the ground here. He's only got that voice of accusation. The devil is the what? The encourager of the brethren? The grand supporter of the brethren? The cheerleader of the brethren? Isn't that what the word says? No, he's the accuser of the brethren, and that is his only weapon. Guys, if we can silence the voice of the enemy in your head today, we've done what we're looking to do. Because he's talking. And he's saying, no, you can't do it, Pastor Ken. Can't take the church to where you want it to go. No, you can't, Betsy. You can't leave that job and come here and be part of the ministry. There's too much concern. There's too much this. There's too much that. Whatever it may be. No, you can't be commissioner. What political experience do you have? That would qualify you to cross this bridge, Who are you? You think you're God. Take you to the top of the, He did the same thing with Jesus. Who do you think you are? Let's go to the top of the temple. I'll give you all this. I'll give you all that. Did God really say? He started it in the garden. And so what do you think? It's been there since day one. Did God really say? And I want to say to you today, He did say your destinies for you. He did say you can have your dreams and destinies. He did say. Let's suspend whether your dream and destiny is of the Lord and godly and all that just for today. I'm sure it is, because we're having the thing here at the house of prayer. So let's drop that off, and let me just give you permission to believe that God wants you to have what that desire is. Okay. I'm sure it's not anything sinful. I'm sure it's whatever. It may be opulent, though. It may be extravagant. It may be overflowing. It may be more than you need. I hope it is. I hope your dream is that big, that it flows out to other people. But it's not God. He wants to get it to you. It's not the devil, because you have authority over the devil. So it's just us, isn't it? Who, me? It's kind of like the dog. I have this dog, Zoe, this little Pomeranian. He's up there with us. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. I lay hands. I pray for him. He's been out in the Spirit. I've anointed him with holy water. I've done everything. I've taken him to confessional. I've taken him. I've gotten him massages, trying to get his... But he's a criminal. One time we left him. We were going on a trip. We were in this van, and we went to gymnastics practice. We were leaving after gymnastics, and we had literally granola bars in the zipper pocket of our suitcase. The dog unzipped the zipper. Swear to you, I know. I zipped it myself. We double-checked it because we know he's a criminal. We already knew he was a criminal. So we couldn't leave it in the box in the car. So we had to put it in there. So we're sitting there watching gymnastics, and this lady comes in and she goes, are you the guys with the white van? I'm like, yeah. He goes, there's a dog sitting on your dashboard eating granola bars. I don't know if you want that happening, but he's sitting there. So I literally, guys, I walk out, and like if the car was about at that wall, I walk out and look, and he saw me. Wham! Grabbed the granola bar and went for the back of the van. He knew he was busted. He knew it. And he's the funny, they have emotions, or they got something going on, because he had some kind of cognitive, I did it. I shot the sheriff. I'm the guy who did it. So, Zoe looked just like that. Who, me? Me? Granola bar? No granola bars around here, And so that's kind of how we are. Who, me? I'm responsible for this chasm? You know, and we kind of sometimes don't want to step into that. But it is us. And the great thing about it is God has empowered us to prosper. He delights in the prosperity of His servants. Abraham's blessings are ours. He desires to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could ask or think according to the power that He put in us that works in us. So yes, it is us. That's a great thing. If we can shift to the fact that it's a great thing, then great things will happen. Does that make sense? And so moving on to the next slide. Remember, InVision is about as a man thinks in his heart. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. We're dealing with the heart this weekend. We're diving in. We're doing heart transplants. We're going into that level of hope. We're finding that heart that Susan Boyle had. The heart that's inside of you. That destiny, that stage, that drama, that passion. That's what we're going for. And as you think in your heart, so are you. Next slide. Remember, we talked about the tree and the seed. Is the tree in the seed? Yes or no? Yes. Yes and no. The blueprint of the tree is in the seed. The DNA, the blueprint, all of that. But the tree doesn't come out of the seed. The seed's only this big. How can a tree, massive oak, like they have in Ohio, they don't have them in Texas, they have trees in Ohio. It's back where there's actually green grass and trees. I was in heaven for the past 2 weeks. Texas is a desert, man. And so anyway, big trees. How can a big oak tree come from a little seed? There's not enough material, matter, energy in that seed, but there is a blueprint. And that blueprint falls into the ground. And it pulls from its environment, the dirt, the nutrients, the minerals, and forms the tree. Does that make sense? The word of truth. How many of you had a prophetic word over your life? I mean, God said, you know, so-and-so, you're going to sing at Hillsong and people are going to get saved and, you know, your voice is going to go around the world. Right? I mean, how many of you had prophecy? You're going to be the next commissioner. You know, you already got the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing going already. You know, so, you know, head to California. Head west, my son. Head west. You know, I mean, how many of you, I mean, he's got the whole Terminator thing. I'm not messing with Rob. I think he put his glasses on like, you messed with me last time. I'm going to put my glasses on this time. You know. I like your glasses, man. You know, take them off. I'm just playing with you. You know, how many of you had that level of prophetic word? I mean, not only do you know, someone else told you and confirmed it, right? And you're like, well, they couldn't have known. So this, wow, there's a blueprint in here. A blueprint of government, a blueprint of music, a blueprint of business, a blueprint of ministry, a blueprint of being a missionary, a blueprint of being a servant in this church, a blueprint of being a pastor, a blueprint of being the next Donald Trump. It's in there. But the seed has to be impregnated. It has to be watered. It has to be germinated so that it can pull from your environment. In your environment is everything you need to accomplish your goal. You may not see it right now, but it's there. I mean, does the seed know it's going to be a giant oak? I mean, it's in there. The blueprint's in there, but it doesn't have everything it needs right now to be that tree. It must draw on its environment. It must train that soil to give it what it needs. It must put a demand on the soil and demand that the soil deliver what is rightfully its. Does that make sense? Susan Boyle walked on that stage. I'm going to rock that crowd. She put a demand on her call. She put a demand on, she spoke what happened. Well, Kyle, there were other people that day that I'm sure the other people who came on stage that day had the same confidence. Well, all I know is I heard her speak, and it was congruent. It lined up with the seed of her destiny. And the moment and the timing all came together because she chose to be in the place of her destiny at that moment. Does that make sense? That's where you want to be. Next slide.